Welcome back. Pull up Suzlon very quickly. 2% and moving up 47, 48 odd rupees on the stock. We reported here on NDTV first about a month back that Gamesa, which is a Spanish company, is going to pick up a stake in Suzlon. We learn now, and this is Bloomberg reporting, that the Gamesa CEO is traveling to India. There's a press conference scheduled on March 9th in Mumbai. What Bloomberg isn't saying is whether this press conference is in relation to Suzlon or their plans with Suzlon, etc., etc. But just an FYI, we reported here about a month back that there might be a deal happening. So now
I just love the way the market puts two and two together.
You've got. So, but you know, it's important. It's important from Suzlon's perspective. We spoke with Mr. Tanti recently. We spoke with the CFO, the new CFO at Suzlon. You know, they remain pretty non-committal when we asked those questions to them, but they're not denied that outright. But what's the structure of the deal? Is it going to be significant? Is Mr. Tanti or the promoters, are they willing to give a substantial chunk? All that, devil always lies in the detail. But that's important for Suzlon one way or the other. Let me get in Ajay Srinivasan, Chief Executive Financial Services at Aditya Birla Group, joins us right here in our studios. Ajay, great having you with us. Thanks very much for dropping by. Banks are all up. I'm just going to ask you some specific questions about, in relation to the budget. Has the expectation of much tighter monetary policy reduced post this budget? Because the fiscal numbers, or the deficit numbers, at least what have been projected, are looking a lot better. Is that a takeaway?
I think 2 points. That's a good question, Prashant. I think 2 points. One, I think clearly in the monetary policy, you heard statements about the fiscal consolidation being necessary to have full impact from what the monetary policy was doing. I think by signaling a 4.6% deficit and by signaling lower market borrowings, you have got that signal from the fiscal. I still think there is a little bit more of tightening to happen on the monetary side. I don't know how much more, but I think there might be a bit more. And I think the joker in the pack really remains oil. Because if oil continues to spike, then you could see more tightening than expected. But broadly, I would say most of the monetary tightening is probably over.
Looking at this budget and the numbers which have been put out, it seems the government is saying that we know a lot more than you do in terms of where oil prices will be, in terms of where inflation will be, etc., right? Because it's based on.
If you're referring to the subsidy number, clearly the subsidy number is lower than people expected. Oil is clearly a key component of that. But you don't know what other measures might be in store during the year, Prashant. So it's not only a factor of price.
They could be
further reform during the year that maybe we're not factoring in today because we don't have the information.
Some one-offs, etc., which might happen through the course of the year.
It's possible.
Ajay, I'm tempted to focus on, I'm sure, an area that you tracked closely. The commentary in the economic survey on the two types of banking licenses. I'm rewinding more than 48 hours. I'm rewinding to Friday. I wanted your thoughts on that, what you made of it. And yesterday, the finance minister talking about the discussion paper, taking 2 steps forward, whatever those steps are and however long they take. Net. What do you make of both these mentions?
I think they're all in the direction that we've been kind of expecting. I think the talk of 2 licenses has again been around for a bit. It's around that we don't need one type of license to deal with the issues. There are 2 issues that I think the government is trying to deal with. The first is growing the inclusion, building the inclusion agenda. For that, you could have special purpose banks that kind of drive that agenda forward. And the second is much more broad competition to banking in general. And that, I think, is the idea of the second license. So I think they're both consistent with what we've been hearing before. The other comment the EFM made was really putting a timeline to the new banking guidelines. The discussion paper was out some time ago. Now he's talking about the guidelines being out this fiscal.
He's talking about, I just wanted the clarity, he's talking about the guidelines by the end of March?
That's right.
I was nervous about whether I'd absorbed that right. So he's essentially got just 30 days for the guidelines.
That's right.
Will he make it or not?
Well, he's typically met all the guidelines, all the deadlines he set for himself. If he's saying by March 31st, I think we have no reason to doubt that.
For the financial services industry, and you represent pretty much everything, you've got businesses in each of those areas. What does it mean? What does this budget mean, if anything?
There's a lot of stuff in the budget for financial services, Prashant. I think there's talk about the insurance bill going through Parliament. There's talk about 7 financial sector reform bills going through Parliament, which is good. There's clearly the insurance bill that I talked about.
In this session.
In this session, which is what he talked about. There's banking, which Manvi just referred to. There's the opening up to foreigners of to mutual funds. So
is that substantial? I mean, apparently there will be the know your customer norms. It could be a fairly big hiccup.
The know your customer norm typically is not a hiccup if you go through a large bank as a distributor, because they do most of that upfront. So I think that's likely to be less of an issue, as much as it's going to be an issue of how do you find distribution, how do you build a brand, and more importantly, I think
demand essentially.
Yeah, more importantly, Manvi, I think how do you compete with the many offshore funds that already exist? There's so many India funds already out there.
It's going to be a lot tougher than attracting investors here than to attract investors there, because they've got a lot more options overseas.
Absolutely.
It's a lucrative market.
There are a lot more options, many of our brands, so I mean people with foreign partners obviously will leverage those brands, but I think
so
it's
then
going to
that
be,
kind of measure seems cosmetic, right?
it's a measure in the right direction. It opens up the market, it opens windows. It's in keeping with the opening up of FIIs in debt, for instance. So I think it's broadening the capital base for many of these things, which is a good thing, but how quickly they'll turn into opportunities is still to be seen.
Do you expect the insurance, the FDI cap to be increased in?
But that's what he mentioned. That's one of the bills he talked about. That the bill will go through, and the 49% is part of that. So I'm not sure when that goes through Parliament now or the monsoon session.
You have your ear to the ground. If he mentioned them now, and he must have a lot of pent-up energy because the last session of Parliament was such a wasted one, and he mentions these bills specifically in his budget speech.
Yeah.
Seems like he's in 4th gear.
He does, and there was an interview with him yesterday where he talked about the fact that he's been working with the various coalition partners to make sure some of these bills progress. So my guess is there's likely to be progress on these.
From a financial market perspective, we spoke about interest rates. You still expect some more tightening to happen. How much, of course, will depend. What's your sense? What should we expect? There's been a lot of debate about whether growth at 8.5%, 9%, which has been projected, is realistic or not. Where do you stand? Are you a believer in what's been put out, or?
In the growth rates, yeah, I think 8.5% to 9%, I think is a reasonable expectation, Prashant. I think there's a fair amount of momentum that should take us there. I think to see that kind of growth rate on a more sustainable basis, though, I think you need 2 things to happen. One, I think you need the infrastructure spending.
The 3rd quarter GDP numbers got missed yesterday.
Yes.
They're already indicating a slowdown, and 4th quarter probably should have the full impact of the slowdown coming through. So you're seeing growth slowing, not accelerating, right?
Yeah, that's for this year. So the expectation this year is 8.6. I think we'll probably we'll hit that number. Next year you should see a bit of a pickup. I think there are a number of things that do enhance growth in the budget. The continuation of the fiscal stimulus, the stability with interest rates, with the excise and service rates. I think the infrastructure push, all of those are good things. I think, as I said, one of the things I'd like to see a little bit more of is the push to investment in general, because this budget continues to have the consumption-led theme. Government expenditure is much more consumption-led, and it seems like broadly the economy is much more consumption-led. It would be good to see more investment coming through. And I guess the only indirect hint of that is more from the fiscal deficit number, which suggests that we'll kind of back off and leave space for private sector to invest.
What about the psychology of the retail investor and whether or not this budget is encouraging in terms of, deploying and investing in various personal instruments?
Well, I mean, I think it doesn't change it drastically. It keeps continuity. I think markets have reacted reasonably well. I think bond markets we discussed a little earlier. So I think broadly it doesn't change it very much, Manvi.
Okay.
Ajay, thanks very much for dropping by. Appreciate your time here.
Thanks, Prashant.
Hope to see a lot more of you.
Sure.
Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
All right, take a break. 70 points still holding out. Strong markets. We'll be back in 2 minutes.